Hello out there in internet land. Welcome to Secret Spins After Dark, where today we see a record that has two artists, both with their own histories and their own respective bands, coming together to collaborate for an album. And so we have... Wait, what kind of secret spin after dark is this? Sunny beach scene. Oh, it's the cover to Mark Kozelek with Petra Haden. Joey Always Smiled. All right, so if you don't know these two, Mark Kozelek, formerly of Red House Painters, currently of, and sometimes only member of, Sun Kil Moon. And Petra Haden, former member of That Dog, former member of the Decemberists, former member of the Blue Jean Committee. Yes, that Blue Jean Committee, with Bill Hader and Fred Armisen. Not on the actual SNL show, though. In fact, I didn't know until just a little bit ago that the Blue Jean Committee received their own mockumentary. Now, I know that SNL doesn't really pump out movie-worthy characters like they used to. And in fact, they probably pumped out some movies for characters that they maybe shouldn't have. But how far down did they have to dig to say, yeah, let's do this let's make a full-length feature for the Blue Jean Committee? But anyway, the two of them got Petra Haden to take part with that, and as it goes. But the thing is, both of these musicians have taken crazy, unexpected left turns in their career. Sometime around 2010, Mark Kozelek decided that he didn't want to write songs in metaphors anymore. And so the song lyrics became very diaristic. And after a while, he really kind of gave up on the singing part of it, too. Where the songs just became like extended journal entries with lyrics that went on for pages and pages. And Petra Haden was singing and playing violin in the aforementioned bands when she decided, hey, I'm going to make a record of a cappella music. And then, I'm going to start doing like full album covers of just a cappella music. So she did like the Who Sell Out. And when that came out, it was like, what, 2005? It was novel at the time. But she followed that up with like Don't Stop Believin'. And I was like, this is kind of starting to sound too much like an episode of Glee. And then she followed that up with an a cappella album of like movie themes. And I was like, you know what? I'm out. So I didn't really follow what she was doing after that. But lo and behold, this record pops up where the two of them... Oh, I didn't show the back cover. The two of them give us these 7 songs, which equates to 72 minutes of music, which I guess leaves the two of them to fully indulge their goofiest tendencies and possibly their worst habits. This was released in 2019 on Mark Kozelek's Caldo Verde label. And it's a long album, and we're starting off with a long track. So let's see what this is all about. Will it be pleasant? Will it be torturous? remains to be seen. So let's find out. Joey Always Smiled by Mark Kozilek and Petra Hayden.
Fell asleep with a headache. I just woke up and I'm feeling better now. I fell asleep watching the 70s on Netflix. Jim Jones, John Gacy, Son of Sam, the Manson trial. There's more, but I fell asleep. But I was a kid then, so I remember a lot of it anyhow, just like you do. I was in kindergarten in 1972 when Duran floored Kenny Buchanan at MSG in New York. The results flashed across TV, and in 1974 I was 7 when Richard Nixon resigned, and I was 8 when Vietnam ended in 1975. I thought about you growing up in the Bronx. Did you feel Son of Sam? What was your first concert? Mine was the Doobie Brothers. My mom took me and some others, and that part was nice. And I walked around for a while by myself, and I saw a shocking amount of sex going on back in the trees. Girls down on their knees, guys with their backs against the trees. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. Blossom Music Center, my first live concert experience. My first attempt at a sexual experience was when 2 older girls took me and a friend across Wales Road in Massillon, Ohio. It was a field back then, and there was a small hill, and behind the hill, we were smoking, and the girls asked us, "Do you guys have hard-ons?" We'd never heard the term, didn't know what it meant. We asked them, "What are hard-ons?" And they smirked, and after a while, one girl shrugged her shoulders to the other. And very slowly, the 4 of us stood up and left. The girls were now walking ahead of us, as if we didn't exist, down the street, Lee Crest. They looked so tall as we trailed behind them. What's a hard-on? What's a hard-on? We were asking each other. At 7 years old, we smoked cigarettes, but we didn't know what the term hard-on meant. So yeah, I remember these things from when I was 4, 5, 6, and 7. What do you recall of those years, Kevin? I remember Frazier from the kid across the street when Smokin' Joe beat Ali. 1972 and on TV, Frazier was saying that Ali taunted him in the ring. He said, Ali was saying to me, "Don't you know that I'm God? Don't you know that I'm God?" Frazier had a witty reply, but I don't remember what it was. Do you? As a kid, did you ever go to the zoo I have no memories of ever going to a zoo, do you? But we went to an enormous barn where my dad bought us parakeets so many times because they always died. They'd never last a week, those parakeets from what we call parakeet prison. I hated the guy who owned it, but looking back on it now, he was just a parakeet supplier in Ohio, trying to make a living. But yeah, at the time, I hated that guy. He and my dad would talk for what seemed like hours and hours in that big smelly barn that smelled like a pigsty. An eternity of metal cages coated with bird shit. Thousands of iridescent birds fluttering and fluttering, feathers floating through the air like a bomb went off. The crud got into our lungs and we choked on parakeet feathers. While my dad and him kept talking and talking, big smiles on their faces. The guy always had these gross green clothes covered in bird shit. He looked like a walking Picasso. I mean, Jackson Pollock, but Picasso rhymes better with clothes, and Picasso rhymes better with us coming home, taking turns vomiting privately, and never letting Dad know. Dad was obsessed with us having parakeets that would live. He kept trying, but they kept dying. Don't know if it was the temperature in our home or the Ohio climate, but eventually we were so tormented by those trips to buy those dying birds, we'd be awake all night dreading going back to parakeet prison. One morning, our dad woke us up so pumped up to go get more parakeets. But we were scared to tell him that we didn't want to go back there anymore. I was a brother, so I did all the talking. If my dad was triggered, I wanted to be the one to take the beating. I said, Dad, the parakeets keep dying, but we don't want to go back there anymore. Dad went easy on us. I could see his heart in his eyes. The parakeets dying was breaking our hearts, but he wanted us to have something colorful and vibrant. To think of him fondly while he was out of town, but it amounted to us flushing dead parakeets down the toilet in addition to our dad being gone. Our first movie was when my mom's friend somehow snuck us into Jaws. I just remember that it had to be kept secret. She said she was taking us to some mall in some faraway suburb to shop. Her husband was strict, and the fear of her getting caught and her nervousness eclipses my memory of the movie. So Kevin, what do you remember of your life between the ages of 4 and 7?
Fraser replied to Ali during that fight at MSG, but I lived on a steep hill called Loring Place. One day water came rushing down the gutter on my side of the street, flowing beneath the Pintos and the Cutlass Supremes, charging down Loring Place to the main avenue, Fordham Road. Someone had opened a hydrant up the hill, but to me the North Pole had melted and the Watergate had broken, the one I'd been hearing about. So the water from Watergate coming from the top down, how could such a thing happen? Was safety an illusion? How long before the floodwaters rose, before it reached the 6th floor of my building where I lived? I'm pretty sure the first movie I saw in a movie theater, The Valentine, was The Towering Inferno. I remember the fire blazing out of control from the middle of the building, working its way up. People trapped on the top floor, above the fire. They were sitting ducks. Their only chance of survival was to blow up the tanks on the roof that held the building's water supply and hope it was enough to stop the fire and not drown them in the process, tying themselves down to keep from getting washed away. Zoos. I remember this guy made the front page of the Post and the Daily News for climbing in the tiger exhibit at the Bronx Zoo. The photo was taken with a long lens, but there he was, across the fence, just like you or me, seated in a Buddhist-like position with a tiger right next to him, its head tilted in fear or confusion, its right paw in mid-swipe. The guy was wearing a satin baseball jacket or a windbreaker, holding out his hand like he wanted to pet the tiger. He got roughed up. The zookeepers were able to distract the animal, get the guy out of there and send him to Jacoby Hospital. The staff gave his ripped up jacket to his mother. I knew the zoo. I knew where the incident occurred. The paper said the guy had a history of mental illness. How long did he have this idea, I wondered? How long had he thought about doing this? Or was it a spur-of-the-moment thing? I'd like to get up close to those tigers, close enough to touch them. What did crossing that line finally involve? What made the difference between doing it and just walking away? Was it insanity? Was it bravery? I asked this friend I was hanging out with that summer, Arthur McGuckin, who said, no question the guy was nuts, but even if you're nuts, it still takes guts. Get in the cage with a tiger. Oh, and the Son of Sam, that's a vivid memory. I remember a lot of people seemed crazy back then. Seemed like a thing that was going around, like a spirit. David Berkowitz used to work at the post office up the block from my Uncle Sam. It was strange because I have a cousin Sam who was the son of my Uncle Sam. I remember the blackout of '77. I remember the Yankees winning the World Series that year. And the following year, I remember seeing the Sex Pistols on a late night show, Nightbird or Midnight Special, feeling like they weren't that different from the Son of Sam. I remember a Canadian TV show that aired on Saturday morning, hilarious House of Frightenstein, hosted by Vincent Price.
You lived on a hill too, so did I, in a Cutlass Supreme. My dad had one of those, a company car, I believe. And you had a fear of hearing about a flood coming and being washed away. My first fear that a disaster was on its way was when we flew to LA to see my grandmother and my grandfather. And I'd never been on a plane. Who knows what was going on? Maybe the hostage situation, maybe, I don't know. But it was my first flight and I thought maybe it might go down in flames. It was the summer between the second and third grade and my ears were popping and the plane was landing and it was such a piercing, excruciating pain. I'll never forget that pain. I was probably crying and the pain was so bad I don't even remember crying. All I remember was that my dad didn't go. Early sign of my mom and dad's divorce, but I was too young to see it coming, you know. And I never seen Asians until we got to Los Angeles. Next door to where my grandparents lived, their neighbors, their names were the Hongs. A song about that trip, the Hummingbirds, seeing Benji in the theater, hearing Bowie's Young Americans for the first time. But a memory that stands out that I've never sang or written about is how the houses all looked the same in that neighborhood. And there was a park across the street where we would play. My sister was over there and she ran across the street back to my grandparents' house, but accidentally ran into the Hong's house. It was her first time at that place, as we'd never met them yet. She found herself in the living room of a Chinese family and she started screaming like you hear in horror films when somebody's being stabbed to death and they're bleeding to death. And a few of the Hongs walked her back to my grandmother's and we were on our way over there to see what was the matter. She was sobbing all day. My sister is so delicate. I mean, how would anybody expect her to act? We grew up on Wonder Bread and Velveeta cheese, and everybody we knew, except my dad's friend Moses and my friend Lamont, were white. We went to the Queen Mary on that trip to LA. The world opened up to me, and I knew that on the West Coast I would live one day. And here I am at 51 in San Francisco, laying next to my Vietnamese girlfriend. My doctor is Chinese, my landlord is Chinese, my dentist is Korean, my guitarist is Filipino. California's my first taste of diversity. I must have loved the taste because it's where I end up 3,000 miles away from where I grew up because I was too much of an outcast to stay. I'm from the biggest high school football town in the USA. That's no bullshit, Madison, Ohio. Go Tigers! It's a documentary, check it out. Ran it today. Chris Spielman's from my hometown. His widow, Stephanie Belcher. She was the most popular girl in my high school. He married her and she was diagnosed with cancer and she ended up dying. He ended his football career to help her. I never thought I'd feel anything for anybody who played football, but I felt for Chris Spielman. I just realized that from the years of 4 to 7 were the years where the seeds were planted. The seeds that sprouted and blossomed into who I am. I watched 2 kids boxing at the boxing gym today, and of all things, they were siblings, 4 and 7. I asked my boxing teacher, what do you think makes these kids end up boxing at this age? He says, circumstance. There's always something. You never know. At the ages between 4 and 7, my destiny was set in motion. Between those ages, I fell in love with music, culture, true crime, California, the fight game, and girls. And no, to this day, I've never owned any pet birds, and I still hate flying, and I still hate football. But I still have a cigarette every now and then after a show, and I found out what a hard-on was. Oh man, did I ever. And here I am about to fall asleep in my apartment on top of Nob Hill in San Francisco. Brett lived in a brick house just south of ours. I don't remember how we met, but I remember the path that went from my backyard to his backyard. We visit each other and we skip the streets and take the path that went through other people's yards, through the brustly pine trees. Brett played guitar, and so did I. But Brett was a one-dimensional guitar player who played only one way. He exclusively played bar chords, not by choice, but due to his technical limitations. He was obsessed with Black Sabbath's first album. He could play every song on it except for Tony Iommi's guitar solos. I have a clear memory of watching Brett play his guitar on the yellow chair in my bedroom, and mentioning to him how painful it was for me to watch him play. The reason that it was so hard to watch him play guitar is because he only used his index and middle fingers to play bar chords. To this day, he's the only guy who I've seen play to only use 2 fingers besides Django on his fretting hand. For anyone listening who doesn't know what a bar chord is, it is a chord that almost always spans 3 frets on the guitar. So naturally, one would use their index finger for the fret closest to the head of the guitar, skipping their middle finger, using their 3rd finger for the fret closest to the body of the guitar. This is the correct position for playing a 2-note bar chord. Brett had 3 brothers and was from a very big family. His brother Joey had a disability. He had no muscle control and couldn't develop mentally. Could have been spina bifida, could have been cerebral palsy. But he sat in a high chair throughout all of my years of knowing Brett's family. Joey couldn't speak. He slobbered and wore a bib, but nobody ever dared made fun of Joey. I mean, nobody ever saw Joey except for the few of us who were invited over. But the brothers all chipped in and feeding him and taking care of him. Joey always smiled, even if he was having a fit about something. Joey always smiled. The strongest memory I took away from my life and times with the Moore family was how the brothers always took care of Joey. One day I was up in Brett's attic bedroom watching him play guitar, and we were smoking weed. I suggested to him that he come observe a guitar lesson of mine, as Brett was impressed with my guitar playing technique. I was getting high so much during this time, and probably showed up to my guitar lesson stoned. As Brett sat and watched, at the end of the lesson I asked my teacher if he had an opening for Brett to take lessons. My teacher said, if you don't have your shit together by next week, Brett can have your spot. I was embarrassed. It was in that moment that I decided to dig deeper and not show up to my next lesson high on pie. It was in that moment that I decided to ask my teacher more about scales and less about how to play Neil Young and Pink Floyd songs. Brett was a lazy player, is the best way I can put it. He had no desire to learn more than what he already knew. Side note, Brett was 3 years older than me. One time we went out to a nightclub with my fake ID. And Brett and I played pool with some thugs who we easily beat. And we played them again, and we won again. And Brett mouthed off to them, and things were heating up. And I stepped in. I told the guys I liked their haircuts and I liked their jackets, and within 20 seconds they lightened up and they laughed. Brett was always impressed with that. He always said, Mark, thank you for stopping those guys from kicking my ass. But back to Joey. He died after I left Ohio. He didn't make it past his late teens. And as far as what happened to Brett after I left Ohio, that story is already told in my song, Michaeline. And I don't feel like going into that again right now, but Brett and Joey still appear in my dreams. Brett's attic bedroom, Joey eating Gerber's baby food, us listening to Planet Caravan, and Brett's awkward guitar playing style. And Joey's sitting there in his high chair, in his diapers, and his big, bright, beautiful smile. Yesterday I spent time with my friend who toured with me in 2004. He was visiting from the state of Maryland and the city of Baltimore. It was raining in San Francisco, and we walked from cafe to cafe, through Nob Hill, Russian Hill, North Beach, and back to Nob Hill, where he took an Uber to the BART station to get back to where he was staying. We talked about subjects that ranged from my ever-changing Sun Kill Moon lineup to the Eddie Van Halen signature series guitar that Jack White used on Saturday Night Live recently, to girlfriends and ex-girlfriends and his life back in Baltimore, to all the classic places in San Francisco that had been closing. He'd never been to Trieste, and I showed him the many photos on the wall. Some of Francis Ford Coppola at work on screenplays like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, at least that's what I'm told. And a large photo of Paul Kanner, who was a regular there at Trieste and North Beach until he died a few years ago. He was always just outside the door reading the newspaper. When I got home last night around 9 p.m., my Nob Hill apartment smelled musty like it always does when it rains. It felt good to hang my wet clothes up, sit down at my computer, turn a lamp on, and call Caroline. I made some ramen, tucked myself into bed, and watched the first half of Full Metal Jacket starring Matthew Modine and Vincent D'Onofrio and R. Lee Ermey. I tried to watch this unsuccessfully the night before when Caroline was trying to sleep next to me. Full Metal Jacket has always been a comforting film for me, especially the first half, but it's a bad choice of a bedtime movie when my girlfriend is trying to get some sleep. I only watched the first half of the first half. The Sergeant Hartman shouting orders at the soldiers is something that, even when played at very low volume, is too loud for most people who are trying to get some sleep. My girlfriend's dad uses headphones and watching movies when her mom is sleeping. I'll have to try that sometime, as my girlfriend left my apartment in the morning very grouchy with me. I probably watched the first half of the movie 50 times. The first half is hypnotic, as Stanley Kubrick films tend to be. Scenes fade slowly from one to another, the roles are flawlessly acted, dialogue perfectly timed. Tension builds, then eases with humor. The sets are generally always in large spellbinding rooms and never look like the interior of any structures that I've personally ever been in. When the movie cuts from the violent scene of Private Pyle killing Sergeant Hartman and turning the M14 on himself while sitting on the toilet in the boot camp lavatory, to Private Joker in Vietnam being solicited by a prostitute, I've never been able to watch much further past this scene, which sets a tone for the second half of the movie, which I've personally always found boring. I'm sure I've gotten through the entire movie once or twice, but nothing ever caught my attention, the Vietnam part, to remember much. Matthew Modine was great in the boot camp scenes, but when Vincent D'Onofrio and R. Lee Ermey are out of the picture, the rest of the movie wasn't carried very well by Matthew Modine. He was a great lead in Pacific Heights, but I don't think he was the right casting decision for Full Metal Jacket. But what do I know? I'm not a film critic, I'm a musician. While writing this piece, I didn't know how to spell Vincent's last name. I looked it up, and in doing so, I saw an article that said R. Lee Ermey died Sunday morning. Yesterday, due to complications with pneumonia. He was 74. Full Metal Jacket was released in 1987, over 30 years ago, which would have made him about 44 years old when the film was released. The funniest parts in the movie are the call and response marching scenes. I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. I don't need no teenage queen. I don't need no teenage queen. I just want my M14. I just want my M14. What a coincidence I decided to watch Full Metal Jacket this past Saturday night, after Saturday Night Live the night before R. Lee Ermey died. The universe must have been telling me that I needed that kind of comfort, the kind of comfort that only the first half of Full Metal Jacket can provide. I looked up R. Lee Ermey's IMDb. I was reminded that he played the pilot in Apocalypse Now, and he was the voice of Sarge in Toy Story 3. Rest in peace, R. Lee Ermey. woke up today, but you didn't mention what I was mumbling about while I was tossing and turning in my sleep. The Tylenol PM and melatonin cocktail can sometimes cause me to have trippy dreams. Dreamed of a woman who said that she broke up with people for the fun of it and had a long list of things that said to me, one, the emotional intelligence of this person is that of someone probably 13. And I dreamed that you and I were jumping from rock to rock looking for a rock to camp on out at sea. We found a large rock in the ocean with blankets on it. We started making our bed. Then I woke up from the dream. Dream of us surrounded by cold crashing white water waves and we were losing daylight. The dream of you and I being swept away out to sea. My heart was pounding. I woke up next to you, so frightened. Yesterday was a good day. I decided to get out of bed and run my errands in the rain. I boxed for 30 minutes at the gym. I'm going back there again today. I wrote a short story about my grandfather to give to my father for his 85th birthday. Today I put 45 minutes into the gym and opened chapter 5 of Mike Tyson's book, Iron Ambition. About his life in times of custody and martyrdom. Gotta admit my emotional and mental strength has been a little off this winter. And this book has many words and sentences and paragraphs of wisdom. This book has many philosophies and recommendations of daily affirmations in it. Like day by day, in every way, I'm getting better. Mike was reading Friedrich Nietzsche when he was only 15. And so was John Fonte. I figured if he's good enough for those guys, then he's good enough for me. And I'm reading Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra for the first time ever. Man versus Superman. Confess I watch Jimmy Swagger sing late into the night. I can listen to him sing gospels until I see the morning light peeking through my blinds. For his singing fills my heart with joy. Jimmy Swagger singing fills my heart with so much joy. Confess I read Joel Osteen too, though some may call him a phony. But I believe he's all about good energy and spreading positivity. I'd like to get closer and closer to that place, though I'll never get there completely. It was a new morning yesterday and we drove home from Chico, through the apple orchards and the vineyards, through West Sacramento and past the signs for Vallejo. We spent the night up there in an Airbnb. It was the first time ever for me in an Airbnb. Dolores White was nice enough to put us up there for free. I found Chico to be a nice town. It was a nice crowd at Duffy's, and in general, nice people all around. And the last song they played, Hey Musicians, put me in a spell. And Chris and I stayed up all night, talking and talking. I was in the upstairs room, and he was in the downstairs room. He said, good night, Mary Ellen. And I said, good night, Jim Bob, like they did in the Waltons. Now I'm back home in bed, taking a nap, under my old green quilt that I got in an auction during an Ohio trip. It was a beautiful drive into San Francisco earlier today. It was a beautiful drive into San Francisco. And I got to see Zoloris White play tonight too, you know. It was a nice mix of their own songs plus some traditional Greek music. And after the show I met a woman born on the exact same day and year as me. Her name was Elizabeth. I met a lot of nice people after the show. Then we got in my girlfriend's car and we drove home. And that last song of theirs put me in a spell yet again. And it's 2:30 a.m. Then I fell asleep reading a book about Custy Amato, about how he dealt with the mob and his fallout with Rocky Graziano. I love Philadelphia since the first time that I came here. Playing various venues in the 90s with my band, the Red House Band. And I once met a girl in New York, and let me tell you, she jumped on a train with me like it was nothing, and we were off to Philadelphia. Brunette, petite and cute, with creamy white skin. That ain't no bullshit, I had a lot of options back then, more than Baskin Robbins. And I liked Philly cheesesteaks, and my band would go to Pat's. But I was in my 20s and now I can't eat there anymore because I'm trying to lose fat. I'm now on doctor's orders to lay off eating carbs and to lay off eating cheese. Pat's may be a tourist trap to you, but a Pat's I got a nice memory. I ain't 21 anymore. Recently I went to the dentist. The dental assistant said, "Can I get you to smile for us for an x-ray, Mr. Kozlik?" I said, "How old are you?" And she said, "I'm 23. I said, "Well, when you get to my age, there's less things to smile about. Trust me." She said, "Well, anyhow, when you smile, I need you to show your teeth, please." I said, "I've been practicing smile without showing my teeth since I was 33. I said, "If you want to make me smile with my teeth, you're gonna have to make me laugh." My dentist walked in and said, "Hey Mark, one of my assistants wants your autograph." I said, "Really? Which one?" She said, "The one who looks like Zach Braff." And everybody laughed, including me, and in just that moment, the dental assistant took my photograph. Snap! Of my face and my big smile, my teeth exposed, coated with plaque. So anyhow, back to Philadelphia, I love it. It's a great boxing town. Omar Sheikha, Joe Frazier in the movie Rocky come to mind. And Bernard Hopkins is a huge inspiration of mine. Come a long way since his armed robbery charge and doing prison time. I relate corner store owner. When I walk to the Tenderloin and I say, hey, to the homeless. Sure, lots of corner men burn lots of fighters' corners. When that fighter gets knocked out, it's he who spends the night alone in the hospital on painkillers. And when that fighter gets KO'd, he gets KO'd all alone. When the band has a shitty night, it falls onto the shoulders of the guy holding the microphone. And Boom Boom Mancini was from humble beginnings, from Youngstown, Ohio. Rest in peace, Davey Moore. He was from Springfield, Ohio. And Michael Dukes is from Akron, Ohio. And me, I'm from the humble Rust Belt town, Masson, Ohio. And unlike football and basketball, boxing doesn't discriminate against weight. You can make a good living at everything from strawweight to flyweight to bantamweight to middleweight to cruiserweight to heavyweight. And unlike football and basketball, boxing doesn't hone in on one race. Roberto Duran's from Panama and Big John Tate's from the southern Tennessee state. Eric Morales is from Mexico and the Klitschko brothers are from the Ukraine. Angel Manfredi's from Gary, Indiana, and Zab Judas from Brooklyn. You can be anywhere, a race in boxing, and accomplish your dreams. Many Pacquiao's made millions of dollars starting at flyweight in the ghettos of the Philippines. And back to your state, Pennsylvania, you got Jersey Joe Walcott, who unfortunately by Rocky Marciano got knocked out. And I love Tom Hanks in the movie Philadelphia. He took on the subject of AIDS and brought it into suburbanites' consciousness and living room. And showed them that regardless of people's diseases and sexual preferences, all human beings are entitled to be treated with dignity, love, and respect. I also like other Tom Hanks movies, like The Money Pit. And that one when he's on the long adventure, Forrest Gump. But that one with him out in the water with the volleyball, my God, what a piece of shit. And I like Kurt Weill, he lives in Philadelphia. I heard that he once played with the Vague Rock Band, but then he quit them. Well, it's transparent why he quit, because he was clearly too talented for them. I mean, if I too had to share the stage with a guy who sounded like Mark Knopfler, I'd have to run to the toilet between songs and puke my guts out. I'm not saying if you sing like Mark Knopfler that it means you're a bad guy. I'm just saying Dire Straits rip-off bands aren't for everybody. See, when I was a kid, from about 1981 to 1983, Dire Straits and Don Henley and John Mellencamp were the soundtrack of my young misery. For people who weren't around at that time, let me tell you, and this this ain't no cry. 1983 era MTV music was the soundtrack of burnouts being picked on by jocks. MTV music is the soundtrack of outcasts being bullied by jocks. 1983 MTV music is the soundtrack of outcasts being bullied by jocks. 1983 MTV music was the soundtrack of burnouts being picked on by jocks. 1983 MTV music was the soundtrack of outcasts being bullied by jocks. So when I hear artists embracing history's worst musical era, I think, my God, why are they playing music that sounds like music from the Ronald Reagan era? You see, the reason I once told a big rock band to start my car is because their music is a soundtrack to outcasts being bullied by jocks. The reason that I once told a big rock band to suck my cock is because their music is the soundtrack to outcasts being bullied by jocks. While everybody else was listening to Madonna and Bow Wow Wow and the Stray Cats and Men Without Hats, I got picked on for liking Jimmy Page and Steve Howe and Tony Iommi, a Black Sabbath and Cat Stevens. And while everybody was wearing Nike tennis shoes, I was wearing bell-bottom jeans and wearing clogs. While people were shopping around the malls, I was sitting on the curb hanging out with stray dogs. While everybody else was dreaming about playing football on football fields, I was dreaming of playing music on stage, and I worked on it hard, and my dream became real. What happened to the rest of them? Well, hey, I don't know. But my guess is it best to listen to vague rock, punching in and punching out at Walmart or Home Depot or Ross. Yeah, I'm an outcast. In all this, I'm very proud. When you're an outsider, you get to float high above the clouds, while civilians are following orders way down on the ground on planet Earth, confined to the rules and regulations of air-conditioned human dog pounds. I'm an outsider and therefore I am free. I'm an outsider like John Fonte and Charles Bukowski. I'm an outsider like John Kennedy Toole and Friedrich Nietzsche. 100 years from now, if this planet's still around, hey, I think they'll probably be studying me. And for me, being an outsider didn't just start in 2014. I was an outsider way back in 1993. When Nirvana was big and Jane's Addiction and Primus and Rage Against the Machine. The journalist said, bring a pill to the Red House Panthers concert, they're gonna put you to sleep. I'm an outsider like Dixon and Marky Smith. Anybody who doesn't like what I do can start their own band, write their own songs, and sing. I'm an outsider like Bill Hicks Anybody who doesn't like what I do can start their own band, write their own song, and sing it. Back to Kurt Weill, he's relaxed. It seems like he's having fun playing music. He's got some songs I like a lot, like Life Like This and Pretty Pimpin'. And there's some other things I like regarding this state that you're living. One of my favorite musicians in the world lives here. His name is Sean Yee. He's in the band Parquet Courts, and to me he's Frank Zappa level genius. He and I made an album together, it's called Yellow Kitchen. It's on the merch table, buy it, it's a lot of fun. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a hell of a lot more interesting than anything Creedence Clearwater Revival has ever done. I like Larry Holmes, he owns half the town of Eastern Pennsylvania. Muhammad Ali trained in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. And I once saw Motley Crue in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I once shared a cab with Pat Putnam, the boxing writer from Philadelphia. The MGM Grand back to our hotels after Holyfield Lewis. And I thought, damn, I'm sitting here in a cab talking to Sports Illustrated's Pat Putnam. He died about 7 years later, and I got nice memories of talking to him. I'm on a plane right now, American Airlines flying in from Boston. I got 3 hours of sleep last night, so I'm running out of thoughts on Philadelphia. Right now I'm gonna sing about my favorite memory of Philadelphia. I was backstage in this exact same venue when a bouncer came knocking. Knocking on my door, he said, Mark, there's a family here that have something to give you. I said, sure, let them in. I looked at them and I said, it's nice to meet you. And they gave me a framed photo of Ollie Frazier at the Thriller in Manila. And no bullshit, that photo was signed by Smokin' Joe Frazier. The next day I boxed it up and I shipped it back home. It's not hanging on my wall in my apartment in San Francisco, but it is on my wall at my home somewhere between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. Next to my bookcase where there's a copy of a book by Philadelphia's Johnny St. Lethal. Everybody give it up right now for Philadelphia's Johnny St. Lethal. When I look at that Ollie Frazier photo, it makes me feel so happy. Reminds me that though I'm an outcast, there are people around the globe who understand me. And that gift is one of the best gifts I've ever been given. Let me tell you, it was given to me by a family right here backstage at the TLA in Philadelphia. Suddenly this song reminds me of Bruce Springsteen era 1983 MTV. Therefore, we're gonna end it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Room 104, Hotel Grand Bilbao. Underneath my room sounds like bowling balls rolling around. Sounds like dim sum trays being pushed around. And I'm eating on Mondras at 6:30 a.m. From the vending machine I found all these sounds I just can't block out the sound. Spain just set the clock back now, but it's yesterday's time on TV. Went to the breakfast area at what I thought was 7:30. The desk guy says, "Sir, ED's now 6:30." I said, "I know, but my stomach is hungry." He said, "Sir, breakfast is at 8:30." I was sleeping deep until these mysterious sounds woke me. I've been exploring and there's a gymnasium down the hall from me. The maid's closets are on the same floor as me, and underneath me is just a hotel lobby as far as I can see. Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. I was in Cadiz once playing my guitar in my room, feeling so lonely. As I was checking out, a couple walked up to me and said, "Ah, here's a guitar player, this sounded so beautiful." I said, "Where's your room?" They said, 7 floors above you. Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. The Spanish hotels, so echo. Last night was our last concert at festival. Rooms were like airplane hangars. The sound was bouncing around the room, boomeranging. I was telling jokes that were not landing. My references and narratives were completely lost on them. Wasn't shooting fish in a barrel like when I'm in Philly or New York or Boston. But it doesn't matter, I'll tell you a secret if you'd like to know, honey. Bands don't play festivals for the fun of it. We do it for the money. We keep our expectations low, but there was a man there who seemed to understand me. It was Mr. Malcolmus. He said, "Wow, I love how you just let it all flow out of you, and how you cleverly dropped Kurt Weill's name, and how you pointed out how Kurt left the band in your own very Mark Kozlicki way, and how you were going on and on and on about Neil Cassidy." I said, "Thanks so much for your kind words, Stephen, but I think you mean John Fonte." He said, "It was really just so you, and it was so funny." And Ezekiel said, "I also love this song about 1983. He said, "I got lost in translation with the Spaniards. We said the song makes so much sense to me." He went on to say the song was so powerful and poignant. And then he told me about his recently broken up relationship. And he told me about the failing health of his 83-year-old mother. I talked about my 85-year-old father who's on life alert, and some sadness regarding others. We talked about being middle-aged and how much it hurts to see our aging fathers and mothers. But hey, I said, "You're my friend, and I'm yours, and friends are important, we've got each other." And 2 kids walked up to me and asked me a question. They asked, "Mark, what would you recommend to 2 kids suffering with depression?" I dropped my bags and I stopped and I talked to them. I asked their ages, they said 20 and 21. I said, "I'm not a poster boy for happiness, but here's what I recommend. Surround yourselves with those you love. Stay away from alcohol and whatever this oxy shit is and other drugs. Stay off the internet, it is miasmic. Online, idle chatter, nonsense. Do not engage in arguments with morons and idiots. Spend your time productively and focus on what matters. Settle your issues with your friends in face-to-face settings. Pursue art, pursue your dreams. Do not let anything stop you. Do not bond with people over things that deep down are not you. So you, be your own woman and you, be your own man. I was your age too. It is a scary thing to leave home and be on your own. Not knowing exactly what road to get on. I had lots of fear and depression when I was your age too. But I found something that I believed in, though I had no believers. I threw myself into the ocean of art with no life preserver. Okay, I admit I stole that last line from Henry Miller. I said you're wonderful people, so believe in yourselves. It's an awkward time, I know, but have faith that you will find yourselves. And eat right and don't drink Coca-Cola. Drink lots of water. I said, speaking of health, I gotta join some friends for dinner. But it's been nice talking. Then we watched the last 10 minutes of Steve Malcolm's. We were all humbled because somehow he sounded so much better than the rest of us. I told him, I like your looseness. I like how you play your guitar without a strap. Afterwards we came back to the hotel and we had some laughs. People asked him how he knew me. He said, Red House Painter, duh. Stephen is sharp. He has encyclopedic knowledge of music and art. It was late, I said, hey, I gotta go upstairs and get some sleep. And I shook some hands and I shared some hearts. And as I was walking to the elevator, I saw Jose and asked, how was your show? He said, it went great. I said, well, not for some of us. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to join us at the table so we could all commiserate. He said, Mark, I'd love to join, but I have to check in on my wife and child. It's late. I said, wow, how old are you now? And he said, 40. I said, man, I believe the first time we met was in Gothenburg and you were just a teen. And here we are now, after all these years, living our lifelong dreams. I said, it's nice to run into you from time to time at these music festivals, Jose. He said, agreed. It was a pleasure to see you, Mark, here in Bilbao, Spain. Back to my room and my mind was racing in the dark. I went to bed thinking about Pavement in the 90s, thinking about Mojave 3 in the 90s, thinking of meeting Jose Gonzalez in the 90s, thinking of a Zek Wheels and Paz in the 90s. And here we are, all still in business and surviving. And as I'm writing this, my stomach won't stop growling. Got the day off tomorrow, so for me, no complaining. Petra just reached out and asked if I could send her some words. I said I'm pretty wiped out right now, but here's some for whatever they're worth. There's some words I wrote here in Bilbao, Spain, on a few hours of sleep. But it's what's in my heart and what's in my soul and what's racing around my brain. I'm looking forward to this day alone tomorrow and some downtime. No sound check, no ironing, no set list, and no show. And the rain has just started pouring on this dark Basque country morning. And below me, the bowling ball started rolling. And through the echoey walls, I hear the water running. In 10 minutes, the breakfast room will be ready. I'll get a chance to see the breakfast room finally. Can't fall asleep when I'm this hungry. Threw on some slippers and jeans and my shirt that smells like an ashtray. Walked down to the breakfast room, had some Jamon Serrano and black tea. Spoons, forks, nice plates, pots, pans, chafing dishes, glasses, teacups, dish caddies. I just figured out where the noise was coming from below me. back to bed, thinking about 20 years ago, when a woman in Sevilla, Spain approached me and said, Mark, I liked your show. We went back to my room and the bed was rickety. We were conscious of the neighbors, but still the bed was squeaky and creaky. The front desk guy knocked and said, sir, we are getting complaints. I said, we're doing what lovers naturally do, so what is your point? He said, sir, you must understand, the floors are tiled and these sounds carry easily. I said, so put some rugs on the floor so lovers can be lovely. I said, it's not my fault that Spanish hotels are so echoey. Spanish hotels, 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 so echoey. The power of love is a curious thing. It makes one man weep, it makes another man sing. Changes a heart to a little white dove. It's more than a feeling, it's the power of love. Tougher than diamonds and whips like cream. Stronger and harder than a bad girl's dream. Makes a bad one good, makes a wrong one right. It's the power of love that'll keep you home at night. I don't need money and you don't take fame. I don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong, it's sudden, it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love. That's the power of love. That's the power of love. That's the power of love.
First time you feel it, it might make you sad. Next time you feel it, it might make you mad, but you'll be glad, baby, when you found there's the power of love that can make the world go round.
I don't need money and don't take fame. I don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong, it's sudden, it's cool sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love. 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 They say that all love is fair. Yeah, but you don't care. But you know what to do when it gets hold of you. And with a little help from above, you can feel the power of love. It don't take money, it don't take fame, it don't take no credit card to ride this train. Tougher than diamonds and stronger than steel. You won't feel it until you feel. That's the power of love. That's the power of love. That's the power of love. That's the power of love.
Okay then. You know, I love how he spends several minutes railing against 1983 era MTV music and then closes out the record with a Huey Lewis cover. Anyway, that was Mark Kozelek with Petra Haden. The record Joey Always Smiled. Those were the songs. You know that the little story at the end of Spanish Hotels Are Echoey didn't really age very well, given the allegations of misbehavior against Mr. Kozelek. That came out after this album. But yeah, that's that. You know, also, you know, that last cover. Mark Kozelek has released multiple albums deconstructing other artists' songs. Entire albums covering AC/DC, Modest Mouse. Actually, did an album and a half of AC/DC covers. But ever since he took that turn into Let Me Tell You About My Day kind of music, we haven't gotten very much of that from him. So it's a little bit of a landmark on this record. And it's nice to know that somewhere inside, that flame still burns. Or maybe it was Petra's idea. Who knows? Thank you for staying up, especially late on a Tuesday night. I mean, you know, if you're here and it's now. But really appreciate you. Aru, Mark, John, Dave, Quick Spec. It was nice having you all. And the lurkers too. I saw the number jumping up and down over the course of the stream. Thanks for stopping by. And if you're catching this on the replay, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate you. Let me know what you think. Be brave and leave a comment. I won't tell. Okie doke. Okay, so Secret Spins will continue tomorrow night. Hope you're there for it, because you're not going to want to miss it. I mean, you might miss it and be like, damn, but you're not going to be like, yo, I'm trying to miss that. Right? Right. Why am I asking questions I don't want the answer to? Hope to see you on the next Secret Spin. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your evening. Nighty-night now.